Welcome back, Video Creeps! Today we're going to be exploring a movie that has been getting by me just time and time again. I even watched this movie once in the past and for whatever reason it just didn't hook me. I'm pretty sure I saw one of the later sequels because I had no fucking idea what was going on. But so many of you guys just fucking loved the shit out of this movie that it made me decide that I'm going to revisit it. So hang tight and enjoy my review of Phantasm. And make sure you stick around to the end of this video so that way you can get a quick update on what's going on with Video Creep. So enjoy this intro, for now. Okay, so first things first, this is a Bad Robot film, which fucking blows my mind because I had no idea that Bad Robot was around this long. Sure, the logo is a little bit bare bones and you can tell it's not in its final form, but holy shit, I didn't know that fucking Bad Robot was making shit like this back in the day. Whenever I think about Bad Robot, I think about Lost, or the fucking Star Trek movies. I certainly never thought Phantasm. But yeah, they did this shit. That's fucking cool. Seeing that Bad Robot made this made me feel like seeing Jonah Hill in the 40-year-old virgin.
So I guess I'll just give you some money and you can give me these shoes and...
You know, I know it seems so strange.
Yeah, so I'd just rather buy them from you straight up.
Yeah, I know. I wish it could be that easy, but...
I wish too, but you're making it extremely difficult for me. I'm just trying to get these shoes back to my house so I can wear them.
Now this movie starts off with two degenerates just defiling a fucking cemetery. Just two people getting busy on a hot Monday. A good time, am I right? You're wrong. This spooky bitch pulls out a dagger and fucking stabs the homie right in the chest, while her now ex-lover is still simultaneously stabbing her. So I don't know, an eye for an eye maybe? Ugh.
That was great.
But then just at the last minute, the spooky bitch turns into some random fucking asshole. No time for questions because now it's the next day. And on this next day, we meet Mike, who if I had watched this movie as a little kid, I would have been like, that kid's a fucking badass. He's literally riding a motorcycle through a graveyard. The only thing that Mike is missing in this scene is a super hot chick on the back of his hog while she's just spraying bullets in the air. However, I'm watching this as an adult, so I watch this kid and I'm like, wow, his parents don't fucking love him at all. This is a rogue child. He needs help. That kid is a needle and a hoochie mama away from ruining his life. But he sees something out the corner of his eye. But he keeps on missing it like a bad Family Guy sketch.
Here's one now. I can never look at it dead on. It's always trying to get away. Hey, eye floater.
Hi.
Hey, where you going?
Away from your pupil.
Well, maybe I'll look over here.
I'll go over here.
You got an answer for everything, don't you?
Meanwhile, inside, the family is gathered to mourn the loss of Tommy. The guy who got duped into getting fucked in the cemetery and then stabbed in the chest, you know, that guy. And here's where we meet Jody, who is looking down on the departed one last time. So let's see how important this Jody character turns out. Now the funeral's over and everybody starts to head home, except for Mike, who witnesses a grave robbery by a super mysterious man who just picks up the casket and just throws it in the back of his car. This motherfucker's strong as hell. Just picking that shit up like it's an easy Tuesday. Fuck you. Done. I do's this shit. We see Mike walking down a lonely road where we see a cameo from fucking Wilson from Castaway. From there, he heads into a house and starts speaking to a fortune teller, where he then proceeds to snitch on Jody for his ambitions to skedaddle. We learn in a quick flashback that Mike is actually Jody's brother, and Jody is taking care of Mike because their parents are fucking dead, so they can't give a fuck about Mike, because they're dead. Mike goes on to tell them that he also kinda saw something else, and it was, a little concerning. But the fortune teller's granddaughter medium thing tells him to put his hand inside of a box.
Michael, grandmother wants to play a little game.
Wow, how'd you do that?
Put your hand in the box.
Well, what's in it?
Just put your hand in the black box.
Okay, but what's in it? Hey, this thing really hurts.
Don't fear, Michael.
I can't get my hand out.
An ice cream truck man by the name of Reggie pulls up and sits his ass right down for a good old-fashioned jam session. And I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty fucking good. I would play this shit in my car, no problem. Reggie and Jody, very promising career as musicians.
You see, my lady left me lonely. Yes, she did. Baby left me blue.
We jump ahead and see Jody entering a bar, where Mike is kinda just being a stalker in the back, just looking through a window. Even though it took Jody all of like a minute to find somebody and convince her to have sex with him in a graveyard. What are the pickup lines that Jody said to make this thing happen? Now Mike's still spying on these two even as they're about to get it on. Mike sees a little bit of titty. But Mike's creepy little peep show is cut short when he hears the sound of a dog or something. But when he looks, it looks more like Igor in his fucking hood.
What the heck?
Mike gets freaked out and starts running and screaming, gaining the attention of Jody, who stops pounding that pussy to go look for his brother. Panties in his mouth and all. If that ain't supervision, what the fuck is?
Where's that girl anyway?
Well, she's waiting back there for me, you idiot.
Did you hear that?
That's only the wind.
You better go get her before it gets her.
You got some kind of an overactive imagination or something, man?
Yeah, he's a fucking kid. Jody heads back for more snoo-snoo, while the kid heads home and this shit happens. Luckily, this turns out to just be a dream. However, the very next day, while Mike is walking around in his small town, he sees this motherfucker. Back at the house, Jody decides that he's gonna go out and try and find the pussy that got away, while Mike is working on Jody's Plymouth Cuda. When next thing you know, Mike starts to get attacked by these fucking Jawa things, and they trap him underneath the car. Mike tells Jody about the fucking Jawas, but of course he doesn't believe him. So later on that night, Mike decides, you know what? Fuck this asshole. I'm gonna prove it. He breaks out of his house and into that graveyard's fucking like house thing. We're just gonna call it the morgue. But yeah, he breaks into that because Mike's balls know no bounds. And break in he does, just like a fucking criminal. Now once inside, Mike starts to snoop around. And as he is walking through the halls, he gets attacked by a ball with fucking like blade things in it. He eventually gets captured, but it is a momentary problem, as he is able to break away, and then that ball thing just like attacks his captor. Was that fucking piss? Now Mike can't linger too long on his victory as the tall man appears. He begins chasing him, but Mike is able to quarantine himself into a corner where he closes the door behind him, trapping his fingers in the door, and just fucking yellow paint goes everywhere, or yellow blood. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but one thing is for sure, and that's that the tall man isn't a human. Why is the blood yellow? So Mike picks up one of those fucking fingers, puts it in his jacket, and fucking bolts home. Now he gets home and shows it to Jody. And then Jody just fully fucking believes him, as he should. Jody tells Mike, get all your shit together, because we're gonna go see the sheriff, because you showed me a fucking finger that's moving and mustard, but the finger itself decides to turn into a fly. Jody gives Mike some pretty solid gun advice. And then Jody tells Mike to stay the fuck put while Jody goes to break into that morgue. But once he's in there, begins to get attacked by Jawas. I know that they're not actually Jawas and shit. They look like Jawas. What do you want from me? I'm gonna call it a Jawa if it quacks like a duck and shit, right? But as he's getting attacked by these Jawas, Mike pulls up and fucking saves the day. Now the Jawas jump in another car but end up crashing it. And Jody and Mike are able to approach this fucking car. And when they look inside, the Jawa is a 3-foot version of Tommy, the guy from earlier in the movie.
It's one of those dwarfs. It went right through it. Tommy.
Jody calls Reggie over, promising that if he puts it in his truck, it won't leak all over the ice cream. And they head back to the house to try and figure out a plan. And why the tall man is taking these bodies and turning them into Jawas. Reggie floats the idea that they just go over there and kick his fucking teeth in. But Jody says, no bitch, take Mike to Sally's, a character that we don't give a fuck about because we never knew her at any other point in this movie, but fine, we'll take her over there, and then some important shit will happen over there. And it does, because as Mike is looking through the antique shop, he finds a fucking Harry Potter moving photograph with the tall man in it. He demands that Sally bitch drive him back to the fucking house. But on the way, they run into Reggie's truck, and all of a sudden, it is on its side in the middle of the road. Mike goes to check the back of it, but when he opens it up, that Jawa, he's not fucking there anymore. And Reggie is nowhere to be found. Mike gets back in the car and he's like, if you don't fucking floor it. But before they can register that, a Jawa comes in and starts fucking shit up. Mike is able to get out of the car, but now on foot he has to head back home, where he meets up with Jody, where he gets the warmest of receptions, which makes no fucking sense to me. If I were Jody and I was like, I want you to go over there because you're gonna be safe, you better fucking stay there, and then you just waltz into the fucking house, I'm not gonna throw my arm around you like I'm glad to see you. I'm gonna say, why the fuck are you here? Bitch, you don't care about your safety? Anyway, fucking Mike fills Jody in about this picture. And then Jody takes Mike and locks him in the room with a screwdriver. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but that's how it goes down. The door doesn't even swing in a way where it would even work. Like, you know, Whatever. The real cool thing is how Mike is able to get out of this room, which if anyone fucking knows if this is true, please tell me, because it sounds fucking awesome. He like takes a shotgun round and fucking tapes it to a hammer, and I'm like, I just gotta show it to you. Guys, is that real? Can you do that? I want to know. Because unlike Mike, I don't have a copy of the Anarchist Cookbook just sitting around my fucking apartment. That's some next level fucking Boy Scout shit. I don't know it. Now Mike heads downstairs, grabs a gun, and heads out of the door. But as he opens up that door, the tall man is standing right there, grabbing onto him in some fucking dope as fuck Super Nintendo music playing in the back. The tall man kidnaps him, throwing him in the car, but Mike is like, fuck that, stranger danger, whips out a gun from his back and shoots out the back window. I personally think it would have been a better idea to shoot him in the back of the fucking head, but Mike is able to conserve those bullets, shooting out the side panels and fucking up the car, leading that car to fucking drive right into a pole and explode, with the tall man in it. When Mike looks up, he's right in front of that morgue, and he heads inside, where Jody is already in there opening up a casket. Mike enters that same room, now empty with Jody nowhere to be found, when all of a sudden that ball comes back to play. As soon as it goes to fucking attack Mike, Jody comes around the corner like a fucking superhero with a shotgun and fucking ends that motherfucker. And once again, Jody just shows mad love, and it doesn't make sense to me. I trapped you in a fucking room, and you're still here. What do I have to do, beat your ass? Stop hugging the fucking kid. Maybe if you yelled at him once in a while, he would listen to you. Kids need boundaries, Jody. Quit being such a fucking vagina. Now Reggie, out of fucking nowhere, links up with our brothers, totally alive and well, and the three of them head into a room with a bunch of black barrels everywhere. Upon inspecting these barrels, they see that there are a couple of weird dwarf Jawa people in there. In addition to these barrels, there's these two metal rods sticking out of the floor. Mike walks over to them, sticking his hand through, and getting the same sensation as earlier in the film when he put his hand in that box. Only this time, Mike is sucked into a red land where Jawas are everywhere. But Jody is able to rip down and pull him out of that world. The lights go out momentarily, and when they come back, we see that Reggie is all alone in the room. When all of a sudden, those two metal rods start to like vacuum suck Reggie into that red land. But he fights it off. He's able to run outside, even though now all three of our guys are separated. But as soon as Reggie comes outside, he sees a beautiful woman, and he gets shanked. Oh no, that skank! Jody and Mike find one another and go on looking for Reggie. But then we see that the tall man is actually the skank who stabbed Reggie.
You dick, Bill!
Jody devises a plan.
There's an old mine shaft way down by the end of Singer's Creek. 1,000 feet straight down. Just gotta figure out a way to get him up there.
But Mike starts to get attacked by the tall man in the house before he can safeguard it. Mike starts running away from the tall man before he starts to remember that he ain't afraid of shit. And he begins luring the tall man into the mine shaft. Then all of a sudden God is good and a bunch of rocks start falling down a hill. Thanks God. Just kidding, it's our Han Solo looking ass motherfucker who pushed a bunch of boulders down and traps the tall man in like a little fucking hole. And then we get a random curveball in this movie. Mike wakes up from a dream and he starts telling his nightmare to Reggie, who apparently is now his parental guardian. It turns out the whole movie long, Reggie has actually been dead. Reggie says, man, I understand, fucking life is hard, your brother's dead, your family's dead, but hey man, we're gonna make a go of this. And Mike goes up to his room, where he closes the door behind him and we can see in a mirror that the tall man is still after him. The mirror shatters and Jawa hands grab Mike and pull him into that world, and the movie fucking ends. Boy, this is not a perfect movie at all. There's weird plot holes and like the way that people interact with others, it's just fucking weird. I can see how this is actually a child's dream the whole time, but ignoring those plot holes, because really they are insignificant to the story that's happening in this movie, this is a rather entertaining film. And this little twist ending actually gives way to a lot of things that I had a problem with. Like, I hated that fucking Mike is a stalker the whole movie long. Then you find out that Jody is dead, and all of a sudden it turns into an allegory about how his brothers left him and how he doesn't want to leave him. It's actually kind of beautiful. Now, I have not seen the sequels, so I don't know if Jody comes back. I don't know if he's always been dead or what's going to happen. You're just going to have to wait until I review the next Phantasm. So I can only go off of what we got in this particular movie. And if there were no sequels, there's a lot of stuff I'd like to fucking know. Who is the tall man? Why is he doing what he's doing? Why is his blood yellow? I understand that maybe later in these other sequels that might be explained and we do learn more, but taking this movie for what it is, there's a lot to wonder about. And it's not as if this movie knew that it would get 4 more sequels and shit. I don't like that in a movie. I think that that's kind of sloppy. You should give me answers in the first movie. And this movie doesn't give me a whole lot of answers. I am left with far more questions. But that's one of the things that I actually think is kind of charming about this movie. It does a lot of things that I generally don't like in other movies, but this movie was able to pull it off. Like leaving me with more questions than answers. Also giving me a random plot twist in the last 4 fucking minutes of the movie. That is always dicey with me. I just don't like being built up in one way, and then you go, nope, that was all bullshit, this actually was happening the whole time. There's an artistry with that, and if you're able to pull that off, fucking awesome. So for this movie, I will say, I do think that it kind of pulled that off. I liked Jody, though he was kind of a Han Solo looking ass bitch. I did like Mike, even though he was a bit of a stalker. I thought Reggie was an awesome backup. I hear he's going to be a big thing moving forward. I'm actually excited to see what this character is going to be. Overall, I really enjoyed this movie. And because of that, I'm going to give this movie this rating.
My ranking for this movie is...
Sweet. Oh, that was nice. I'm glad that I revisited Phantasm, and I'm glad that I have a better memory of this movie now. Again, like I said in the beginning of this review, I think I may have seen like part 3 or 4 and just been so lost that I was just like, fuck this franchise. But watching this movie, I'm hooked. I want to see the next one, and I want to see where these characters go. Now getting away from that and talking a bit about the channel itself, this will be the last time that you see this exact background. Since I am moving, that means that this background is moving. There's going to be big changes coming for Video Creep. I actually mentioned this in the last live, but just going on a video itself and talking about it, This is the future of what is going on. So there won't be any more Video Creep for at least 2 weeks or so while I adjust to my new area and while I get everything together. But when I come back, I promise you that Video Creep will be bigger, it will be better, it will be fucking cooler. We're gonna have more horror reviews, more really cool news, and a lot more fun. So keep an eye out for more Video Creep coming in the next couple of weeks. However, if you can't hold off, please help a guy out and buy a copy of my book. I have a commercial on here for my book. There's a lot of fun, emotional, funny, and sad shit that goes on in this book. It means a lot to me, and buying this book actually means that you're supporting Video Creep. So I'm gonna leave a link to that down below. That's gonna be it for this video and for the next couple of weeks, but Video Creep will be back very soon. Like, leave a comment, and hit me up on my social media so that way we can stay in touch during this little lull. That's gonna be it for this review. Peace, Video Creeps.